आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुः श्रोत्रमथो बलमेन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मेस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om. May all my limbs become strong. May the body, mind, the sensory and motor organs become efficient and powerful. All is verily the one without second, absolute, ever blissful existence itself, the Brahman. May I never deny this truth of oneness. May the truth never reject me either. May all the virtues necessary to experience this truth in life be with me. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Let us feel all the different shapes and associated names of everything, including one's own body. Are gone, dissolved, like ice cubes in warm weather. The whole one mass without any distinction remains. Everything is one. The illusory changing lines of separation are creating this delusion of I and the world full of different objects. But the truth is oneness of all. Everything is in that one. Which is beyond time, space and causation. Realizing this truth makes us go beyond all desires and sufferings ensuing from them. I am bliss itself. I am peace itself. Om, peace, peace, peace. So, dear friends, let us begin with the 30th class on the stories from Srimad Bhagavatam. We had been discussing a very interesting, amusing story of creation from the one divine source. That divine source manifests in all different forms without any change in it. So, while discussing, let us remember this very important principle, that there is no change and the creation comes. That is the most important idea in Vedanta, that the truth is immutable. There is no change because of our perception of the situation. So let us begin with our regular prayers. जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirastakuhakam satyam param dhimahi. That from whom creation, sustenance and dissolution of the universe take place, who is both the instrumental and material cause of it, who is omniscient, is the only one having self-mastery, being the one independent entity, who illumined the mind of Brahma with the Vedic revelation, whose wisdom is the wonder of even the greatest sages, in whom the world of the three gunas subsist, just as the combination of materials like fire, water and earth subsist in their causes without changing their elemental nature, in whose consciousness there is nothing false. On that truth supreme we meditate. So, this is all going on as the meditation on the truth supreme. The all Srimad Bhagavatam is a meditation on truth supreme. And when we are seeing this universe, it is important therefore to feel that it is this truth supreme that we are seeing just through the prism or through the kaleidoscope of time, space and causation. So we saw that still there is the desire in people to know where from all this universe actually came from. That is how our mind is so attached to this world of senses. It is all appears to be so real. So even though after telling that it is all the appearance that one divine alone is real, thou art that one reality, the mind still goes to this world. Okay, understood it is all one, but then I want to know from one how they many came in what sequence. We are very so-called scientific people, you know. And we don't want to hear any nonsense, whatever. We want a proper sequence, you know, how this came, and from that came, and then from that came. It's all, you see. The sages actually laugh, but they have to reply. Our childish understanding is not satisfied unless some stories are told. Let us remove this idea that we are very intellectual people. We may be very learned, we may have many PhDs, we may be working in the academic or scientific environment. We might be getting a lot of these rewards and so forth. And yet, we are usually not at all intellectuals because we get attached to things which are, if you apply intellect, are all illusory. Yet, we go there and feel that it is real, and so we want how it came about. And so, Maitreya is telling Vidur about the sequence in which this gets formed. Let us remember, in actuality, there is no sequence as such. To give you an analogy, that it is a rope and you are seeing snake there. It was not light enough, you are seeing snake there. Now, can you tell that what got formed first? And how the snake actually evolved? It is whether the head was formed first and how small the head was when the snake was born. Can you really meaningfully discuss these things? But since you want to know, that is how the little babies are, and we are spiritually babies. Let us not boast about our being very highly evolved spiritual souls. For highly evolved spiritual souls, these stories are only a way to attune to God again and again in various ways. For those who are not, these stories are told so that gradually they will be able to feel the glory of the God in and through these. So, therefore, there is this idea that God first formed Virat Purusa. The word Virat means which is a special existence, it shines forth specially. Visheshena Rajate iti Virat. It is the word Virat has this kind of etymology, means it is specially existent, specially shining forth. And the other things are all included in it, and therefore it is the big one. So, let us go back a little bit and see why this being was formed first. That all those elements and their presiding deities and the organs and all, the Lord just out of His own glory manifested for the purpose of creation. But they were not able to create on their own. They were helpless. And so they prayed to God, "Oh God, you made us to create this universe by combining and recombining, but we are not able to combine without your help." There is the great message in this, that nothing moves, nothing works without very active involvement of God. Last time there was a very nice question. Does God micromanage the universe? Well, yes. And God mega manages as well as micromanages. It is in everything that Lord has penetrated, and that is working in it. Just as the electricity is not just mega management, in every electrical instrument it has gone in, it has penetrated and making the thing function. So Lord said, okay, yes, I need to now enter into you and enliven you and combine so that you can combine. So, in that process, first this big special being, Virat, was made. This Virat contains all universes, everything innate, in the seed form, let us say. It is all there. This is not, this Virat Purusha is not to be confused with the Brahman that is beyond all specifications. Virat Purusha is a created being, a big being. To give you an example, suppose somebody wants to make little dumplings. So, many of them. So, they make a big dough in a pan. They make a big dough. Today, we had that thing today, one of our devotees, she made some nice these spicy tortillas. So what she did, that made first the dough, put into it all different ingredients, mix them nicely, and then now that dough in smaller pieces with the process would be made into those pancakes or tortilla, whatever you may call, and thus that gets made from that. Now that dough has all those ingredients that will go in it, and then that just is all the active ingredients have been put in it. And now the next process starts, like rolling and so forth. So all these have been put in it. So now is this Virat Purusha is endowed with three powers. The power of consciousness. It is conscious. This being is a conscious being. And then the actions is able to act. And it is also therefore subject to enjoyment and suffering. It is because it also is an embodied being. This Virat is also a big being, huge, enormous, containing, say, whatever you may think of, all galaxies, all black holes or white holes or whatever you may call, all those are included in this big being. So, but it is a conscious being with the idea I am, and so performs the actions. And when you perform the actions, they result causing either a pleasure or pain, suffering or some enjoyment will be there. It is all this that being enjoys. It is important to know, it is in Bhagavad Gita, there is that how they, this being, the matter aspect of it and the conscious aspect of it, and they are connected and how they function. Very beautifully told in one verse that they all these actions hetu prakriti ruchyate. All the actions, changes, movements, combinations, all that is happening in the material aspect of it. But the suffering and enjoyment, Purusha bhoktritve heturuchyate, that they spark of consciousness in that, the I-ness, that is enjoying and suffering and all that. So just think of it. Say when you are eating, say, ice cream, then who is enjoying the ice cream? Who? It is certainly the body is inert. It cannot enjoy. The mouth can swallow it. The digestive system can process it. Those taste buds, they can tell you the taste of it. But it is all the matter. The mind is also part of this matter. So who enjoys? You cannot think of matter enjoying or suffering. The proof of it is that the same substance eaten by the same person may not always give the same response. Sometimes you may like it, sometimes you may not like, sometimes you enjoy the same substance taken in by the same body, same organ, may make you suffer. This is the experience of all of us. So, therefore, this body and mind, they being material, they don't enjoy or suffer. The being in that enjoys and suffers and carries all those impressions forward. So, it is very important aspect of Vedanta teachings, and one should get acquainted with it. See, body gets hurt, mind may get hurt, but the enjoyer and sufferer is neither of them. The I in that is the enjoyer or sufferer. And therefore, a person like Sri Ramakrishna, where there is no individual I as such, there is absolutely no enjoyment or suffering. The body suffers. It is like that when you hear Mahapurush Maharaj, Swami Shivananda, was asked, somebody came to see him. He was in his advanced age, was having some paralysis had set in. He was not able to speak much, or so. Somebody asked, "How are you?" "Well, I am fine, excellent." "But you are," they say, "you are not well." You are. If you are asking about body, that's a different thing. Body now has become old, and so it will have its problems. But I am fine. I am not attached to it. Sometimes I give this analogy that now I have put on this shirt. Now somebody comes and gives a blow. I hope nobody will do that, but suppose somebody comes and gives the blow, I get hurt. And if the person says, "Well, I didn't hit you, I hit only the shirt," I am not going to take it. It is. But imagine, now I take this shirt off and put it on the hanger out there. Now this person goes and gives 100 blows. I am not concerned with that. So Sri Ramakrishna was using the body, that's all, but was not one with it. And we also have to practice this. We are also not the body. That is truth, friends. That is truth. Ignorance is the big glue. We have applied a lot of it. That because of which I am one with the body. And so whatever happens to body happens to me. It is as simple as that. So, therefore, one must see that if we are identified with it, like this Virat Purusa also is identified with that, and thus has all these enjoyment, suffering, and so forth. So, now the next step is that it is now for the further this thing, the groups were formed. The same material now for proper functions, the groups were formed. Like that devotee made small balls of that big dough to properly, roll them into shape and so forth. So, and then put certain other ingredients like oil and so forth. And then, then the baking process that also was carried out. So it is all this Virat Purusha has all these ingredients. They started these, you can see, they call consciousness is one, the action is divided into 5 energies. The Sanskrit word is prana. And 5 forms of functioning. And then enjoyment and suffering is of 3 types, which is adhyatmika. Means it is because of my personal things I am getting them. It is adhyatmika. It is that is the personal suffering. It is not due to something outside, I mean. It is, so then there is the suffering due to certain things happening in the universe. So that is making you enjoy or suffer. So that is Adhidaivik. Then there are Adhibhautik. Because of certain the materials combinations around of different things, various different people and so forth, you are getting that. So like your body became sick. Now you are suffering, and there is it is adhyatmika. It is your own thing, you see. Nothing outside is connected with that. So you are suffering because of this. This is called adhyatmika. Headache is there. Now, okay, I have the headache. Nothing outside is happening because of that. Then there is the suffering, like, there is a tsunami or earthquake or such things that make you suffer or whatever, so that is the Adhidaivik, the causes, the cosmic causes that you don't have control over. So they are for your joy and suffering. And like the nice weather is there, or suddenly unbearable cold sets in. Now what is there? And there is some people get happiness out of it. Some people suffer because of it. Like a lot of snow falls. And then many people feel it's suffering. Oh, it is so cold, the snow has accumulated, I can't take out my car, I have to shovel, and because of this snow, it feels so cold here. Somebody suffers. Those who have the business of snow plows, they become happy. Now they are going to make money. In the season when there is no or very little snow, one season, they had taken out a procession of all snow blowers, snow plows on the street, and they had rallied at a point. All those snow plows, they had a sign: "We are hungry, we eat snow." So those businesses, they were not happy at all. They want snow. It is like that. If everybody is healthy, these healthy people will be very happy. Yes, I am enjoying good health. What about the medical profession? They will not be able to make money. So, therefore, they will be hurting. So, this is all the same thing can be joy for somebody and pain for somebody else. So, these are the examples that how the somebody others, they may cause suffering to you. So, that is another form. So, it is. And let us remember this Virat is the substance of everything. All, as I mentioned earlier, even the big galaxies and whatnot in the universe, right from the minutest electron to the biggest the thing in the universe, all are contained in this Virat. So, this big being. So, this is the first manifestation. Like you first make the dough. It is, so that is, after that is done, then the next processes begin. So, it is, this Virat was then activated. Now, again, God is required for every step. That Virat also needs to be activated by the will of God, by His power for giving proper space and functional ability to the presiding deities. The functional ability and the space has to be given by Lord. So then it becomes then functional. Like there is, say, a building for the this defense secretaries and military and all that, called Pentagon. In America, it's Pentagon. So a space is created, a building is created, and then that you work there. Like Yona works in what university, Yona? Emerson University. So she goes to there is a building where that is happening. So a space is there. So in that space, then these things happen. It is so you need space and proper space. The Emerson University will not be constructed like Pentagon is constructed. It is function. The chapel is not constructed like a university building. It is not also constructed like a textile mill. Everything has to be, the space has to be proper for the function to happen. So, all these spaces were made. It's a very interesting description that, and then their presiding deities. So, Agni means fire, and not the regular fire, but that because of the speech functions, that mouth was created for the speech. It is, if the mouth is shut, then you cannot utter words. So it is, the mouth is the space for its function, and it produces the speech. The speech comes from it. Varuna, another deity, was placed in the palate where the tongue functioned as taste. Two Ashwins, other deities, got nose because there are two nostrils. The Ashwini Kumars are two. So it is they two, they got the power of smell. So also eye, skin, ear, reproductive and excretory organs, hands, legs got their places, deities and functions. So all this has been now ready. That their buildings are ready, their staff is ready, the head of the place is there, presiding deity, the functionalities are there, and so now the things can now start creating. This is still at the level of primary creation. It is all now is these other things, they are still not working on their own. This is all at the primary level managed. So it is all these organs and everything now, they become activated, they become functional. Imagine, that how all these functions are done, since this is being described for human beings. The human organs only are taken into consideration. There would be, for example, some creatures would have some electric sense that we don't have, so that is not taken into consideration here. There may be various different senses. So, but since human being is endowed only with 5 sense organs, our universe is just describable by these 5. So, it is then comes, that moon, the inner things, the outer functions. Now, all these get combined. That is, moon with its power of mind took place in heart. The power of mind, its place is heart, and for the purpose of feeling and imagination. That is the function. Therefore, from heart, you feel. Do you feel in the head? No, you feel in the heart there. It is like that. One of the devotees, she always would say, Swami, what you are telling, all these things about, Vedanta, all this is only God is real and so forth. All that you tell, it makes sense here, but not here. So, it takes some time for it to come, percolate down. So it is the heart which is the seat of feelings and also imagination. It is, we imagine, we feel, we have that power of emotion. All these, there is the seat of heart there. Then the Rudra got the eye sense. We all have this, what is called in Sanskrit, ahankara, eye sense, which gives the with the power of will to do. First there is the will, and thus according to the will, the functions happen. It is first you get the will, and then that you start working according to that will. So that will took the function in this I awareness, this I-ness. So that is where the will comes from, ahankara. It is without that things don't function. Therefore it is said that where there is a will, there is way. If there is will, then you somehow get it done. So this is the functionality there, that I function. This is the seat of will. So ego, and without that nothing happens. It is in computer learning, the artificial intelligence, this function has to be actually introduced. That if this is being seen, you have to do this. So the function of I, it is material. Imagine, no, it is not the I, supreme I consciousness. This is ahankara. This is a part of the inner organ. So this is to be put in the computer to do the things. So then only it becomes an artificial intelligence there. The makers of this realized it after they saw that, it is not taking initiative. So what to do? Okay, this has to be put in the program, that you have to do this. So it is that's very important thing. Many people have capability, but since the will is not there, it doesn't happen. Many wonderful workers with lot of capability, if I request them, will you please do, you can do. Let me see. I don't feel like doing it, because the will is not active. The capability is there, but without the will, it doesn't function. If there is will, then they do work so nicely. It is wonderful to see that. It is sometimes said, well, can this person do this work? The answer is given, depends on his or her mood. This mood is this, that whether the will is active or not there. Those who are therefore advancing spiritually, they keep their will active whenever there is a scope for going further in spiritual life. The will is kept active for that, and deliberately made inactive when there is just the possibility of getting more entangled in the worldly things. No. When it is something that would be spiritually making more advancement for you, and you can do it, but what happens is the will is not there, so wouldn't be able to do it. So this will is an important part. And then Brahma. This Brahma, many seem to confuse it on occasions with Brahman, the Absolute. And so to avoid it, this time I have put an additional A there. Brahma took place in the intellect when it was formed to perform reasoning, rational thought, and so forth. Therefore, many people who are very rational, means they are capable of doing reasoning, seeing the pros and cons, they are able to discern. But this fellow Brahma, if he is sleeping there, then it doesn't happen. They still go by their instincts and emotions in spite of being very rational otherwise. Very in their profession, mathematicians, very rational, This outlook has to be there for that. Everything has to be reasoned, properly presented. All that capability is there. But it remains limited only there. It does not automatically come in the field of discernment in this world, what is right and what is not right, what is the permanent and what is impermanent. All that discernment does not happen because this is not awakened. So this awakening, that to be rational, to be thinking in all matters, wherever there is scope for it, then that is how it works. So there is a figurative description given here that how now they also have to have different worlds, as all the different beings, all the little beings now took their place in this body of Virat, depending on how much Sattva, the purity is there in them. So those who are quite pure, then the higher world, it is where there is preponderance of what is called Sattva, the purity. The angels and devas, they kind of dwell there, and that place is on the top of this Virat Purusa. It is. Then there are in the bottom, you see the human and other animals live in this earth region due to preponderance of rajas, very active and so forth. And then the other astral ghost-like beings with preponderance of tamas, they go in the middle region and navel region, as it were, where there is not much work as such. So this is how you say the distribution of the three worlds is given. That and the human and other animals, they therefore they have the because of animation there, they have the capability to develop themselves. So there is the rajas preponderance. Don't mistake that there is no sattva or tamas. It is the question of only preponderance. What is more functional in them? So there is, of course, the sattva also there, tamas also is there, but rajas activity is more prominently seen, so they are like that. So it is, these divisions have been shown, and now you have the it is a very important thing, and let me read in that it is told, it is at the end of this chapter, it is mentioned that now the speech is there, but how all the organs are to be used. It says that Maitreya says that how people thus move in these worlds, and then says that even though it be so, in order to purify my speech, rendered impure by talking about worldly matters, because this Maitreya was talking about the world. So just to say that this is to be always connected to God. He says, I shall speak on the glorious excellences of the Lord according to my capacity and according to what I have learned. Wise men say that the only advantage that man derives from his power of speech, and man, woman, not, it is not gender specific here. So it is what one derives from the power of speech, the only advantage is that one can utilize it for describing the glories of the supremely holy being, and that one's gain in having ears is that they can be dedicated to the hearing of the glorious accounts about God, sung and narrated by pious devotees and scholars. How much could even Brahma understand of the Supreme Being, even after struggling for 1,000 divine years with his intelligence that was perfected by the practice of concentrated meditation? Very important. Even how much Brahma can understand? Very little. Even though he's meditated for thousands of years and his intelligence was so great, yet how much can he understand? Nothing, very little. But we pose, I understand everything about God. No, one cannot. Sri Ramakrishna used to give a beautiful analogy that it is an ant went to a whole big mountain of sugar. Now that small particle of that mountain was sufficient for it, so it swallowed one of those particles and started carrying another, and is thinking, next time when I come I will carry the whole mountain. So we need just a little bit of the grace of God. Do we really need to know? No, we don't need to know how the God is and how much his that area of expansion is. Don't try also. It is logical not to try for that. It will be just a terrible wastage of one's energies. So, he continues, the mysterious power of Maya of the Lord stupefies the mind of even the greatest yogis. And because of Maya, everything appears to be so real there. And you start inquiring about that which is not existing. It is so. But even the yogis, they falter in this matter. So, and even the Lord himself, does he really understand about the Maya? It is a spontaneous expression. Spontaneously, it is the power. There is no play of knowing and understanding. So, therefore, salutations to the Lord, from whom words along with the mind fall back, unable to comprehend, whom even deities presiding over the categories cannot understand. That it is, one cannot describe it by mind, but why then should we think about it? Because thus our mind gets purified. So, next time we shall try to see how this secondary creation proceeds. We shall conclude with this concluding mantra, closing chant, and then if you have any questions, you may ask. If निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखाद् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुर्मुहुः रसिका भुवि भावुकाः. O devotees, quaff, quaff to intoxication this nectar of the fruit of the tree of Vedas, flowing from the mouth of the great sage Shuka, mixed with the ambrosia from his words. Any questions there?
Yes, there is one question from Charlie. Do asuras have a preponderance of tamas or rajas?
Oh, the asuras, the demons. The demons have preponderance of tamas. They are therefore, they are active, means there is rajas in them. But the preponderance is that of tamas, and therefore their activities are all directed towards wrong or bad things. Yes.
There is a second question from Charlie. You said not to think about details of God, but then you said the mind gets purified by thinking about this. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is, the purpose is not that you know the details. If you can connect all those things to God, then only it gets purified by thinking about it, because you are thinking about God. If we lose this connection, then the mind will not get purified by that. It is very important to discuss creation, not as the creationists, but as those who see that it is all the glory of the Lord. The point is the mind should be on God. As Sri Ramakrishna would say, that this think of the magician and the magic. The magician is real, all the magic is not real. So they pay attention to the magician. That is important. So similarly think of God, who is in and through all that we are seeing, who has become all without changing. So this is then these things, these singing the glories of the Lord does purify our mind. Sure. Yes, Charlie? Not Charlie, Abhijit. Okay. Yes, it is universal, not in that sense, but universal means it includes everything. Just to give you a very rough analogy, that all the microbes that are in your body, you are in a sense, aware of them and not aware of them. When you are moving, all those microbes have no way but to move along with you. It is so, in that sense, that Virat is aware and not aware. So, Virat is different from Ishvara. It is, Ishvara is not Virat. Ishvara is the God who is now pulsating with the power of creation. It is Virat is a manifestation that comes later. So Virat is different from Ishwar. It is the power of Ishvara that makes Virat activated. It is Virat is made by it. Yes, first let Eze was asking something. Oh, his question is it Virat that incarnates as Avatara? No. They God, they Brahman, the all pervading, unchanging reality incarnates as a human being, that is called God incarnation, an avatar. Yeah. It is not Virat Purusha that does that. No. Yes? Huh? Yes, yes, yes. Well, it is the will of the God is functioning through the individual will, and therefore it is when it is successful, then it is the will of the God. Even if it is not successful, the will of the God prevails, that it was not to be successful. So, it is the will of the God is manifesting as all the minor wills. Yeah. So, let us conclude with the closing chant. मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल.